Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, to the train wreck called the APC party we go. We are visiting Ekiti State. As guys, I bring you this. APC suspends Ekiti Governor Fayemi, accuses governor of funding PDP. So this is what is going on now. The APC party seems to be imploding on itself, and this was the same route, by the way, that Oshiomhole followed to end up being suspended and expelled as the chairman of the party and virtually from the APC party. So that first step that Oshiomhole took in Edo State is now being taken by Fayemi apparently in Ekiti State. But there are three narratives that are coming with this story. So this is the first narrative. So follow it all the way through. As again, APC suspends Ekiti Governor Fayemi, accuses governor of funding PDP. So now let's now see what this opening salvo is all about. The State Executive Committee of the All Progressive Congress APC in Ekiti State has suspended Governor Kayode Fayemi and accused the governor of funding the campaign of People's Democratic Party's candidates in the last governorship election in Oyo State, Seyi Makinde. Dr. Kayode Fayemi, the executive governor of Ekiti State, is hereby suspended from the party in view of his numerous anti-party activities, especially his role in the recently concluded governorship election in Edo State, which is contrary to the provisions of Article 21A subsection 2 of the APC Constitution. Ekiti State APC SEC said in a statement, for 5 days prior to the Edo State elections, Governor Fayemi hosted PDP bigwig Mr. Femi Kayode in the government house in Ado Ekiti in the run-up to the Edo State election. It was here they perfected the coup against our party in Edo State. This is the same Kayode Fayemi who daily abuses President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the APC as a party, as well as a vital section of our country. We have evidence of that meeting. Ekiti State APC SEC claimed that Fani Kayode specifically said he has gone on his tour as part of an effort between him and Fayemi to build a cross-party alliance, and few hours after leaving Ekiti, he fired a shot at APC national leader Bola Tinubu. The party also accused Fayemi of supporting the People's Democratic Party PDP candidate to defeat the APC candidate in the gubernatorial election in Oyo State. A second tranche of money he sent to Governor Makinde in the election was intercepted by soldiers. Ekiti APC SEC claimed that the courier, Mr. Ayo Adegbite, his chief protocol officer, was arrested, and he immediately disowned and announced a sack letter. Mr. Adegbite remains his aide till date. So internal battles between themselves in APC Ekiti State, of course, and the spill out is the suspension now of what is his name, Fayemi from APC in Ekiti State. So this is the opening salvo, and this is the first round, the first shot that has been fired in this now evolving saga. So a lot of you that are steeped in the politics of Nigeria, of course, would feel a sense of deja vu about what is happening in Ekiti State now, because this was the same shot that was fired in the local ward in Edo State of Adams Oshiomhole, that then trickled and then led to a cascading and then an avalanche that has now led to that guy not only being suspended, then removed as the chairman of the APC party, but then summarily disgraced in Edo State in the last election that we all witnessed. So the downfall of Oshiomhole was sparked off at this local ward in Edo State, as we are seeing repeating now in Ekiti State for Fayemi. So this is the opening salvo now as the machinations now move against Fayemi. But then, of course, this is not the be all and end all. And we go on to the next headline. So this is the headline that now comes off the back of that narrative, and here it is: APC nullifies suspension of Fayemi, Ojudu, and others. So the APC quickly responds, of course, because Fayemi, you have to remember, is a Buhari boy. He was the Minister of Mineral Resources or whatever, raw materials, in the Buhari regime, before he decided to give up that position to go and retake his position as governor of Ekiti State, which he was before Ayodele Fayose defeated him and took that post off him. So he's still smarting from that, and he feels as though he would not feel complete until he goes and takes that back. So he gave up a ministerial position to come and take this position. And you recall how they ran that election in Ekiti State to bring Fayemi in. It wasn't really an election, it was a military coup against Ekiti, because there was two military security personnel to 1 voters. That's how they overwhelmed that space to run that election for Fayemi. So now the APC backs Fayemi again, as again APC nullifies suspension of Fayemi, Ojudu, others. So now let's now see how Malam Buhari backs his boy. The National Secretariat of the All Progressive Congress has nullified all suspensions, noting that it was yet to receive any communication to that effect. This was contained in the statement titled Disclaimer: Governor Kayode Fayemi, Other Purported Suspensions and Nullity, APC, signed by the Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the party, Yekini Nabina, on Friday. Nabina said the attention of the National Secretariat of the All Progressive Congress has been drawn to a purported and widely reported suspension of the governor of Ekiti State, His Excellency Kayode Fayemi, as well as an earlier reported indefinite suspension of some other party members in the state. The actions are a nullity, as the party's national secretariat is yet to receive any communication from the state chapter on the purported suspensions. We strongly advise all members to adhere to our party's constitution. Governor Kayode Fayemi remains the leader of the party in Ekiti State, in line with the mandate of the Governor Miamala Buni-led APC caretaker/extraordinary National Convention Planning Committee, and the President's admonition to the party members to ensure and support ongoing amicable and rancor-free settlement of internal party dispute. We call on our esteemed party members and leaders in Ekiti State to be duly guided. For the avoidance of doubt, the architect Paul Omotosho chaired APC Ekiti State Working Committee is the authentic, valid, and duly recognized executive, as no factions or divisions exist in the state chapter. Recall that the state chapter of the party on Thursday suspended a presidential advisor, Senator Babafemi Ojodu, and the son-in-law of Senator Bola Tinubu, Ayotunde Ojo, and 9 other party leaders for alleged disobedience to the directive of the party's national executive. So Malam Buhari effectively backs his boy. Let me just round this off, and then we'll see what we're making of it. State Publicity Secretary of the party, Ade Ajayi, announced the suspension via a statement in Ado-Ekiti. In response, a faction of the party, which Senator Ojodu belongs, issued a counter-suspension order in a letter titled R.E. Dr. Kayode Fayemi's anti-party activities on Friday. The faction, which claimed to be the authentic state executive committee of the APC in Ekiti State, suspended the state governor from the party. The statement was signed by Senator Tony Adeniyi, Senator Babafemi Ojodu, Dayo Adeyeye, and 5 others. So that's the goings on in Ekiti State, and Buhari, of course, backs his boy. You have to understand that they have a lot of plans for Fayemi within the APC party, because Fayemi, you have to remember, is if you don't, then you have to know that he's a player for the 2023 political machinations, for the political mix, is in the mix for the 2023 presidency. So he's either in the mix as a principal to have a northerner, maybe El Rufai, as his running mate, or he'll be the running mate to a northerner, depending on the political climate in the build-up to 2023, because of course their first move is to continue the Fulani hegemony. But if they feel that the country would not yield to that, then they'll just have like a malleable sort of a token puppet Yoruba type person, i.e. Fayemi, and then have like a strong man Fulani guy, i.e. El Rufai, as his running mate. So Fayemi is in the mix for their political calculations for 2023, and they cannot let some silly little man from Ado Ekiti come and kibosh that. So they've given him his first warning, whoever is behind this Fayemi suspension, whatever, that look, behave yourself. If you need money, just come and speak to somebody and we'll give you 100 million so you can go and settle yourself down. But if you misbehave, then we'll just get rid of you. So that's the first warning. And of course, it doesn't end there, as Fayemi himself now comes out to hammer down the position that his daddy Malam Buhari has taken. So we go on to the third half of this now 3-part narrative. Ekiti, Governor Fayemi reacts to his suspension by APC group. So Fayemi, of course, a man that is not media shy. Yeah, as soon as he sees a camera, he has an opinion. And of course, now this suspension has given him an opportunity to flash himself up again within the Nigerian political space, or at least within the Nigerian consciousness. So again, Governor Fayemi reacts to his suspension by APC group. So now let's now see what Kayode has to say. Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State has reacted to his suspension by a faction of the All Progressive Congress APC in Ekiti State. The governor, through his chief press secretary, described the suspension as a joke taken too far. It was reported earlier that Fayemi was suspended by the State Executive Committee of the All Progressive Congress APC. His suspension was confirmed in a statement signed by 8 members of the Executive Committee on Friday. They are Senator Tony Adeniyi, Senator Babafemi Ojodu, Senator Dayo Adeyeye, Congressman Bimbo Daramola, Honorable Robinson Ajibiyi, Honorable Oye Ojo, Honorable Dr. Ade Wale Omorin, and Honorable Femi Adeleye. In his reaction to the purported suspension of Governor Kayode at K. Fayemi by an unknown group, the chief press secretary to the governor, Mr. Yinka Ayobode, described it as a joke taken too far. Ayobode said the All Progressive Congress APC as a party is governed by laws, adding that members of the group cannot hide under their recent suspension to announce a dubious suspension they lack the locus to handle. Whilst one would have dismissed their claims as another attempt to polarize the party in the state, it is also important to put it on record that the action of the group smacks of criminal impersonation, as none of those who signed the purported suspension letter are executive members of the party at ward level, local government, or state level. He said in a statement on Friday, the action is but a joke taken too far, as they never had any power they wanted to arrogate to themselves whilst they were members of the party, much less now they have been suspended. Governor Fayemi, however, remains unperturbed by these antics of suspended members of the party. Well-meaning members of the public as well as members of the APC are urged to disregard the news of the purported suspension, as it only exists in the imagination of members of the group. Dr. Kayode Fayemi remains the indisputable leader of the APC in Ekiti State, the CPS said. So there you have it now, the genesis to exodus of what is going on in Ekiti State. So this guy has been suspended, but apparently, allegedly, the people who suspended him have no locus, no grounding, no basis in law or substance to have effected that suspension, because apparently they were suspended already themselves from the party, and even if they were fully fledged, they were not of sufficient enough potency within the party to have effected the suspension. So now the response though is really the key part. So first you look at the heavyweight names that were behind that suspension: Senator this and Senator that, Honorable this and Dr. that. So heavyweight names within Ekiti State, you know, the average Ekiti man is a Dr. this or Dr. that anyway. So heavyweight names are to the point then that it has jarred their senses in Abuja, so that they felt the need to respond, because of course Fayemi is part of a clutch of people that are players within the party and within the future of the party, and especially in the play-up and run-up to 2023. So they don't want him touched. Not only, I mean, the suspension is one thing that they can just dismiss and disregard internally, but they don't even want this sort of news surrounding this sort of a person, because they want his name to be whiter than white, and they want him to be completely with an aura of cleanliness, so that that can be presented then as a wholesomeness come 2023. So they don't want him in the trenches battling it out with his local party members. So they moved quickly to nullify that suspension and to call the people suspending him to order. And that suspension, of course, seems to have opened a window of opportunity for Fayemi to have his say within the public space. And by the way, this is a diversion as well from the Obaseki victory. So if this is a three-dimensional chess being played here, you never know, because Nigeria is a very complex and a very convoluted sort of political dynamic. But whatever it is, this is what is playing out now, and it does strike me quite curious. It strikes me as quite curious that anytime that anything seems to jar in the senses of the status quo within the Nigerian space, another news immediately comes that supersedes that. So we're still celebrating Obaseki, and suddenly they are saying they're suspending Fayemi. So the focus now shifts from the celebration of Obaseki, which we were thinking was marking the beginnings of the rescuing of the country from the clutches of the cabals, to now focusing on Fayemi and the internal play and how that mirrors the Oshiomhole experience. So this is the dynamic now that is going on in Ekiti State and the APC party, a very convoluted one, as I said, but you can come unpick it for me in the comment section. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Click on like as well, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. Then once you've done all the clickings, come join me in the comment section. Come tell me what sense you are making of all this, because I'm struggling to make sense of it. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section. But here I say peace.